Welcome to Season 4 of She Lancer, Mom Entrepreneur with VoiceOver Angela. I'm your host, Angela. I'm a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and this podcast are the audio versions of my live Q&A chats on YouTube. If you'd like to be part of the live Q&A chats, come on over to my YouTube channel, VoiceOver Angela. I'm live every Tuesday at 12 p.m. EST. We talk about voiceover, the business of voiceover, audiobooks, and so much more. Find more information on my website, voiceoverangela.com. Enjoy today's episode. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining me again for another live Q&A community chat session. What are we calling this? If you're new here, welcome. Glad to have you here. My name is Angela. I am a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator. And my channel here on YouTube is dedicated to those of you just getting started out in this wonderful, wonderful world. Why I always have trouble saying that? Wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channel, I share with you some tips and tricks and techniques that I use every day in my own voiceover business. And then we get together weekly in these community chat sessions and discuss a topic of choice. And if you're not new here, then you know every week we have a new poll, and that is the topic for today. Let us go over to the poll. Have you ever been approached with or been a victim of a voiceover or audiobook scam? Now, as you can imagine, I get this question a lot. How can I spot it? How do I respond? What do I do? So on and so forth. So first, let's go over and see what you guys are saying. So 29 votes so far. It looks like I'm really surprised by this. With as rampant, I guess it's a good thing, but as rampant as different scams try to, they seem to appear like every day, new ones, and even the same ones come back around, right? I'm really surprised that 2/3 of you said no. So that's a good thing. That's an excellent, excellent thing. I thought it would be the other way around. So that's amazing. So 32 votes and 31% of you said yes, and 69% of you said no. Now, I have to wonder, is that because the majority of you have not really sought out any work yet? Is that why it's no? Or is it really just getting better? Are we getting better in spotting these up front? I have to wonder. Because I know there's a lot of people who watch my channel and reach out to me that are just in the beginning stages, right? Sort of the not so much procrastinate learning, but in the like research and gather learning stage, right? So maybe it's because the majority of you have not sought out work yet. Interesting. Okay. Well, let's go over to the comments and see what everybody has to say. And if you have been approached by a scam or feel it's kind of scammy, I mean, use your intuition, like trust your gut. If it feels like it's too good to be true, or they're asking for way too much information that is required by some of the platforms we work through, because if you're a freelancer, you don't need a bunch of other stuff as if you were being employed, right? You don't need to fill out forms and paperwork and submit driver's licenses and social security numbers and things like that. You don't need to do that through a lot of the platforms that we work through. So if you've been approached by anyone, again, or like a scenario that sounds too good to be true, like the budget's just crazy big and they want some information from you, so on and so forth. If you have been approached by this or a victim of, please share it in the comments. So anybody watching live now with us or in team replay know what to look for and know how to react, right? How to deal with it. It's all very helpful. First in today is Joya. Hi, Joya. I've been approached by several scammy deals on LinkedIn. They are everywhere for everybody watching. They will approach you anywhere and everywhere. As I've always said, if you make yourself available online, you're opening that door to be approached in some way, shape, or form to scammers, right? Um, some of them I believe to be in the mindset that they are right. Not everything's a scam, just misunderstandings from those in other countries. And that is something to really keep in mind. And I'm glad Joya brought that up because I think a lot of what we assume, I don't want to say a lot of, maybe some of what we assume to be scammy or, ill-intentioned is just language barrier, right? Maybe poor translation of what they're trying to get across. So I think instead of immediately jumping to the assumption that someone's trying to pull one over on you, have an open mind and really read through what they're saying. If it seems like they're asking for something that is really not needed for what we do, or they're trying to get you to, give them some sort of form of payment like access to Venmo or something like that. I mean, use business invoices. You know, if they're trying to do something that is outside of what is normal, maybe ask clarifying questions. And then if they answer with something that still sounds a little bit outside of what is really needed or too good to be true, trust your gut or ask your community, "Hey, have you ever heard of this or been approached by this? I mean, what does this feel like to you?" Just to confirm your suspicions, right? But I think a lot of that we misunderstand just due to communication barriers, right? So I'm glad you brought that up, Joya. Miriam's here. Hey, Miriam. How you doing? Hello, Angela and all. Hope your day is going good and staying dry and warm, depending on where you are. I had a VO scam where they asked me to send a pic of my driver's license, which I didn't. Good. There are platforms that we work through or find work through, namely, I don't know if Fiverr does this, but I know Upwork does, which is a good thing, right? It's to make sure that to confirm that you are a real person, right? Because they're trying to keep out people who are scammy, right? So they're asking for identification to make sure you are who you say you are. But that's about it, right? If there's an individual, a client, a buyer, a prospective, anybody reaching out to you and asking you for more information, again, like your social security number, like your EIN, like anything above and beyond what is needed other than what is your desired tone, pace, and what is the price, right? What is your budget? If there's anything above and beyond that, then definitely ask clarifying questions. And a lot of times it's just not needed. The only thing in my experience that I've had to sign or supply information for were for NDAs, which is a non-disclosure agreement, which is basically a document saying that you're not going to share any information that the client gives you until they tell you to. For instance, say it's a video game that they're building a video game and they're at the point where they're getting voice actors to play the parts, right? They don't want you to share anything about the video game with other people, right? So you're signing an agreement stating that you will not share that information until they tell you that you can, right? That's basically what a non-disclosure agreement is. And then there's also a contract, which some companies will require, stating a lot of that same verbiage, payment terms, non-disclosure terms, right? All of those things, but they don't need your social security number. They don't need, right, anything above and beyond your name. But if you do get a contract or any kind of document that they're asking you to sign, and we've talked about this many times before here on my channel, make sure you read through it. Don't just willy-nilly sign everything, right? Read through it. Because there have been some instances where I found some questionable clauses stuck within contracts, and I just refused. I missed out on the business because I wasn't comfortable with signing the document. That I think in this instance, they wanted the permission to sign my name onto things without needing me to sign it, right? Like a power of attorney. I wasn't comfortable with that. I didn't see the need for that, right? So I didn't sign it. I lost out on the business, but that's tangent number one. Anywho, but good. I'm glad that you didn't. Dylan says, good morning, all. I've never been a victim of a scam per se, but my second audiobook I recorded was completely written by AI, and I didn't realize until I'd already agreed to the contract. That's a tough one, especially if it's like a place through like ACX, because a lot of the times when we're auditioning for a project, it's hard to tell sometimes if something is just completely written by AI. Given that they only give us maybe like a paragraph or just a small little snippet of context to narrate from for the audition. So I think if someone offers you a contract or an offer to produce an audiobook, say on, for example, on a place like ACX, before you accept, I would ask to see the manuscript in its entirety to make sure that you are comfortable, A, with the content, right? Because they could very well give you a snippet that's very vanilla, and then the rest of the book is very spicy, and you're not comfortable with spice. Then you want to know up front before you agree to the contract. Along those same lines, you want to make sure that you read through it. And if it's written by AI, there are some places that are starting to go, okay, well, we don't want all AI written books, right? So then you lose out on potential earning abilities, right? In the future by if it's like, say if it's like a royalty share book, right? And you agree to it and it's written by AI, and then ACX or Audible says, no, we don't want this AI book. And then you lose out on all of that work you did, basically, right? So what I do is I ask for the manuscript up front. And that's same thing applies with Fiverr, Upwork, anywhere else that you find audiobook work, ask for the manuscript, or any voiceover project for that matter, ask for the full script up front. Because in that case, you also want to verify the word count. There have been many times where I've had people omit or forget or fat finger the word count into their initial message. And, for example, they say, okay, my script is 5,000 words. And then I say I would like to see the manuscript because I want to make sure that I'm comfortable with the content and to see if I have any questions, right? Which is fair. And then I verify the word count and it's 50,000 words. That's going to be, right? I didn't give them any kind of pricing structure until I see the manuscript to verify the word count also. Something else to keep in mind. Dylan says, I still got paid though. Now I know better. Good. And that is the most important thing that I want to stress about this whole conversation about scammers is that even if you do fall victim to a scam, and I'm hoping it wasn't too bad, and I'm hoping that you escaped unscathed, but I want you to look at it as not as a failure or, ignorance on your part. I don't want you to look at it that way. I want you to look at it as a learning opportunity. Now you're better versed or better equipped, better educated, however you want to say it, to see it coming in the future, right? It's a learning opportunity. It's not a failure on your part. It's a learning opportunity. That is the most important takeaway from any negative thing, really. It's not failure. It's a learning opportunity, right? Now you're just that much stronger for moving forward and building your business in the future. Pamela's here. Good morning, Pamela. How are you? Brian is here. Hey, Mark. Oh, I will call you Mark. Brian Mark Mitchell. Brian Mark Mitchell. Hi, Brian. How you doing? Our brain has a mind of its own sometimes. Yeah, it does, because never mind. Caesar says, I have neither been approached by or been victimized, but I have seen early warning signs and red flags, which I've wisely avoided. Good. That's awesome. So inquiring minds want to know, what were the early warning signs or what were the red flags that you saw that made you think twice about these projects? Because I'm sure everybody watching would like to know. Eric. Hi, Eric. Good morning. I had that huge 4-book scam when I started. Did all the work, and then it was pulled after about a month or so. Definitely learned from that one. And that was really poopy but I mean, that does happen. And and you're a pretty smart cookie, so it must have been something that was really you felt really comfortable with, right? We're not going to spot them all. We're not going to see them all coming a mile away. Some of them are very, very good, and some of them is just again going to be a learning opportunity, right? And that really stinks that happened, but I'm glad that you moved up and on from that. Brian says, I've never been duped, but the first people to contact me on ACX and Fiverr were scammers. And that is typically something that is going to happen more to newer people, right? People just joining any platform, because these people, these scammers, are assuming that you don't know what you're doing. So they're preying on what you have yet not learned, right? They know that you're not well versed enough to see them coming as easily as someone who's been doing this for a while longer would see them, right? So they're preying on what you don't know yet. So just make sure that if you are just joining any of these platforms for the first time, Fiverr, Upwork, ACX, any of them, that you're not assuming everybody's trying to scam you, because again, there are some instances where there's just language barrier and some people are really, well-meaning. They just can't articulate what it is that they need in the way that we are accustomed to in our language, if that makes sense. But minding your P's and Q's, really asking clarifying questions if you're in doubt, is going to help you to see these coming, right? And obviously, if it sounds too good to be true, then most of the time it is, right? Andrea Hall is here. Hi, Andrea. How you doing? Good morning. Colette says, hi, everybody. Hi, Colette. Good to see you. Caesar says, that said, hello, Angela. Hello, everyone. I am so excited to say that I've nearly taken care of my pesky sound leak in my studio and have a very tasty -63 to -67 dB noise floor. That is amazing. That is a very, very tasty noise floor. Good for you, Caesar. Rider Dude says, good morning. Good morning, Rider Dude. Good to see you. Colette says, is it me, or have we had a lot of people going into overdrive with their VO careers? I can tell you, Colette, that I've been doing this now for almost 6 years. I think in June will be 6 years. And I think it's been pretty much the same, consistent with people joining or wanting to learn more or try their hand at voiceover. So I don't think there's been an influx per se. I think you probably recognize it more now, just being in the circles that you're in and the groups that you're in. You're seeing it more and more because you're now aware of it, I think. But it's been pretty consistent, I think, in my experience, the last 6 years, of people wanting to learn more about it or try their hand at it. Colette says, hi, Keith. Caesar says, overdrive how? Like getting a lot of work, or like getting deeply into their VO work with analog gear and building studios? Colette says, congrats, Caesar. Caesar then says, thanks, Colette. I still have a smidge more work to do. If the cats are fighting in the hallway, my noise floor goes to -55 dB. Easily scraped off with Clarity VX, though. Well, you think, really? Does Clarity VX have like a cat removal setting? Cat fight removal setting? Caesar says, but once I fully seal that door, I feel that's pretty much render any cat shenanigans inaudible. That's awesome. Cat shenanigans. Dwight says, hello from the road. Hello, Dwight. Drive safe. MG Stevens says, good morning, Angela and everyone. Signed on ACX contract based on my samples, no audition. Then rights holder never sent final manuscript, despite numerous attempts. I contacted ACX, contract terminated. Scam? Maybe not. I've had a lot of instances where people, maybe their messages fall into a spam folder, or they're just not aware of how a platform works. I had a repeat customer on Fiverr on my podcast editing gig Just the other day, they've worked with me before, but had placed an order which was wrong. So I sent the, hey, this was wrong. Here's how you fix it. And then just completely, they fell off the planet. And then I had to get Fiverr customer support involved. They finally responded. I thought we had an agreement. So I sent them the agreement and then they fell off the planet again. So I had to cancel those 2 orders. But it happens. It happens that people either they just don't understand how the platform works. The messages from you or the platform fall into a spam folder and they just don't see it. Or, I mean, it could be really anything. Maybe something happened to them or in their family and they just were away and didn't see. I mean, it could be a number of things, but I wouldn't necessarily jump right to scam. It could be something happened or they didn't know how the platform worked. Landry Kimberly. Hey, Kim, how you doing? Good morning. Hot Pink Bear says, being newer, I'm not sure how to spot a scam yet. And that just comes with learning. I think, again, being part of a community or a few of them in voiceover, like Facebook groups, right? There's a lot of Facebook groups for voice artists and audiobook narrators, and people share their experiences with scams, right? And maybe even who to look out for on these Facebook groups. So just being part of these groups and being active and reading the comments that are posted, you'll start to learn and see some of the red flags to look out for, some of the verbiage that scammers use, how they approach, what they say, right? How they structure the scam, things like that. And then just taking mental notes of those will definitely help you going forward and spotting them yourself. James M. Johnson says, I just signed up through Fiverr and I have gotten 4 messages that are all scam related. Very annoying. Yeah. Again, Fiverr is a global marketplace and there are going to be people who prey on newer sellers, but you will get past it. I had the same problems. You will get past it. Just stay consistent, stay active, right? Just keep at it. Persistence does pay off in that respect for sure. I've had people ask for dates on Fiverr. I've had all kinds of, feet pic requests, things like that. I've had my share of weirdness, but there is a lot of business that can be made through Fiverr. So don't discount it just yet. Just stay consistent, stay with it. Old Slacker says, hi, Angela. Hope you're doing great. Same to everyone in chat. Doing great so far. Hope you are too. Nick Davis is here. Hey, approached by message or email, but not duped. Good. James Johnson says that's a good point because I just sent it for Fiverr because I'm a new seller. It's a very rampant. Yeah, I think it's just it's just like leaving what's a good, I don't even think I probably need to say this, but they see an opportunity, right? And they've probably had success in the past. So they're going to keep trying their formula with new people. It's, it's like leaving your phone number off of the do not call list, right? You're just kind of asking for it, but you will get past it. You just got to learn how to respond and then block, right? Respond, no, thank you, and then block them. Big Apple voiceover says, caveat emptor, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Yeah, you're right. Colette says, some of these scammers tip their hand and you become aware of it. Tip their hand? Yeah, there are some really good ones, but some of them are just blatantly obvious, right? But knowing what to look for and then being in these communities and then finding out what other people have seen or have gone through will definitely help to spot these things for yourself. Akalai, am I saying that right? Personally, I'm brand new, just learning while setting up my at-home studio. Good. Well, welcome to the family. MG Stevens says, I've had several scammers reach out on Fiverr, which I recognized, and so did Fiverr, who cut them off. They wanted to do lots of things off platform. Big no-no. Mhm. And that could be also that just some of these newer Fiverr buyers just don't know. Because let's be honest, when you read the terms of service, and the terms of service clearly states to keep all conversations, messages, work on Fiverr through the platform, right? But how many times do you actually read terms of service before you agree to it, right? We are aware of it because we know there are serious repercussions for us as sellers, but the buyers, probably not so much. So they don't realize that that's a no-no. They don't realize that you can't give them your social media contacts, that you can't give them your email address or your phone number or your Slack, any other way to contact you off of platform. And that's a big no-no. They just don't know that, right? There's been many times where I've had to explain that to people. And then they get upset with me like it's my policy. And then I have to explain this is this site's Fiverr's terms of service, not my policy, right? Dawn says, "Good morning, Angela. This is the artist formerly known as Bear338." Thank you. Okay. That YouTube is way too cluttered, and I vol this Tuesday morning therapy. Oh, this is your Tuesday morning. Oh, how sweet. Well, welcome, Dawn. Caesar says, I'm not sure if it's my wife's influence or not, but I'm usually incredibly easy to scam. I don't think you are. I trust way too much. But lately, I've been better at spotting red flags. That's good. That's just like any other muscle that you just need to build and strengthen over time, right? Because you don't really know what you're looking at or how these people approach, these scammers approach you in the VO industry. But I think the more that you're exposed to it, either in um, having it come to you and your own awareness, or reading about other people's experiences and then learning from those. But I'm glad that you're developing a more, what's the word? It'll come back to me. Words are hard. Discernment. There you go. See, it's as soon as you're not trying to think about it, it just pops into your head. Big Apple voiceover says, why connect with a client you've never sent an email to? Oh, because they could possibly find you elsewhere. If you're active on social media, like as obviously I'm on YouTube, I have a lot of videos on YouTube, and also now TikTok. I'm starting to sort of be more active on TikTok. So people are going to find you on your social media or elsewhere, even like, let's just say, for example, if you have a profile on Upwork, they find you on Upwork and they go to search for you through Google, and they come across your website. They could very well be reaching out to you there just because they found you somewhere else. But I wouldn't immediately dismiss somebody who sends me an email, because a lot of times they found my YouTube channel and then they want to connect with me directly, right? But that same rule applies. They can find me on YouTube and think that they're going to come to my email address and scam me. So you just got to kind of know what you're looking for, right? Michelle is here. Hey, Michelle, how you doing? Hi, how you doing? Finally made it to alive. I'm so glad you're here. She's my soul sister. Walked to the donut shop and grabbed an apple fritter for the coffee. You are my spirit animal. Big Apple voiceover says, open your mind, close your wallet. Yeah. Caesar says, I've been building the bones of my online presence, LinkedIn included, and I occasionally get VO solicitations on WhatsApp, like, hello, my dear, are you making availability for the voiceovers? Yeah, I don't even use WhatsApp because that's all I get. That and Skype. I get a lot of like random, I just, uh, what do you call it? Uninstalled them, right? I don't even use them just because they're just too much hassle. Leslie says, good morning. I think having the info from you and the other groups, Facebook for narrator, author, platinum, etc., has made it a lot easier to suss out the scammies. Well, that's good. That's one of the things that I hope that you guys can glean from being part of my circle in any way, right? Whether it be in my Facebook VO group, the VO workshop, or the platinum group or just being in my circles at all. I'm hoping that anything that you learn in your orbit to me can help you with the good stuff and the possibly bad stuff, right? To keep you out of that. The scam. Masonry Construction says no outright scams, but often for using my voice to further AI. Yeah, I have to turn down a lot of those too. It just is what it is, right? James says, hello. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that was the below one. Yes, I get the hello, dear response too. I do too. I don't immediately think that they're scammy, but it's always kind of a red flag because sometimes that's how people just start emails with people from a different country, So I don't immediately think that they are all that way because they're not all of them. You know what? Let's check the poll really quick again. Let me try to remember where I'm at and see if I can get back here quickly. Again, the poll today was, have you ever been approached with or been a victim of a voiceover or an audiobook scam? And if you have either been approached with one or have been a victim of, then share the details in the comments so everybody watching can start to learn what to look for. Wow, the poll is still very, very swayed to no, which is just surprising to me because I thought it was just like a rampant thing. But then again, is it because a lot of you haven't really started actively looking for work yet and haven't been exposed to scammy people, scammies? So we have 55 votes and 31% of you said yes, and then 69% of you said no. It's very interesting. I thought for sure, so you guys are always proving me wrong. I thought for sure that it would be like an overwhelming yes. It's very interesting. Huh. James then says, I was told I'd be paid $2,000 to read a 15-word script, and then when I said they're scam, they got so aggressive, and then Fiverr took them off the chat. Yeah. I'm glad that Fiverr is involved in that respect, that they try to catch these and eliminate them before they can get anybody. Big Apple voiceover says, never send your personal info, even for a 1099, unless you vet them. Yep, that's another scam. 1099s. Chat with Lorna, Learning Channel. How you doing, Lorna? I have had a few asking for money on email for VO gigs. I'm guessing they got my business email from my LinkedIn account. It's in a separate email. For asking you for money? Yeah, sure. How much you want? You want my vent? It's so silly. Why people think that would work. Rusty Killbilly. Good morning. How are you? Caesar says, I was once offered $700 for a short commercial read to promote a financial investment company. I was given a link that attempted to take over my Instagram account. Fortunately, I had a 2FA. What's 2FA? What's 2FA? I must know. Is it like a scammy thwarter? Scammy firewall? What is it? Don Bryan says, oh, and please call me Donnie. If you say Don, I feel like I'm in trouble. Noted. You got it, Donnie. Unless you want to be in trouble. Joya says, no AI models write more than 1,200 words in a prompt. It takes a human entering in beats or prompts to continue writing. And then she continues, AI written books need human editing to make sure they make sense. A human was involved at some point. Yeah, to her point, I don't think that when we're given these AI books, or we think we have a feeling that the book is written by AI, the majority of it may be. And I think even if a human is involved, it's still something that I think is as we progress with AI and then starting to get some regulations on it and some laws and things like that. I think more of these completely or mostly AI written books are going to be taken off platforms because I just think it's going to go that way. So I would definitely just not even do anything to do with AI, because I think at some point they'll be removed once regulations are in place. Caesar says, now that I think about it, that counts as being approached with a scam. Yes, I was trying the best way to word that. But yeah, if you've ever been exposed to one, I suppose. Janelle. Hey, Janelle. How you doing, Janelle? Hi, Angela and Angelinians. It's tricky not to fall for a crafty scam. Some of them are pretty good. I try to trust my instincts and ask questions. That's the best thing you could do. Ask questions. And then I think some of them don't even respond when you ask questions. When you ask too many questions, you're just too much trouble to scam now. Because they just want it fast and easy, right? They don't want to have to get involved. Yeah. Joya says, still not a thing I like, but it does help create names and locations for wildly off-the-wall fiction. Oh, of course, I can see the benefit of, like we've always talked about, I can see the benefit of AI assisting, making better, but not completely taking over something that a creative does, right? Writers, photographers, videographers, voice actors, right? Not completely taking over what a creative does. Assisting, yes. Replacing, no. Colette says, does ACX take any responsibility? For what? For being scammed? If that's the question, no, because just like Fiverr and Upwork, you're making yourself available to people to reach out to you and ask you questions. You do have to inform them if someone reaches out to you with a scam so they can hopefully do something on their end, but they can't police everyone, right? But you can assist in making them aware if someone is doing something fishy. Tycon Delar says, are most scam platform based like Fiverr and Upwork, or do they show up on your VO website as well? I get them everywhere. I get people trying me on everywhere. Fiverr, Upwork, ACX, direct email, LinkedIn, Instagram, everywhere. Anytime that you're available and make yourself available, people are going to try you on. So it's best to trust your spidey senses, right? Just like James says, I believe scammers are everywhere, and they are. They are everywhere. Caesar says scam signs. Number 1, solicitations out of nowhere. 2, dubious verbiage. 3, strange links. Do not ever click links. If someone you've never met before, and this applies on Fiverr and Upwork too, or ACX, ask questions. If they send you a link to documents or to something, don't click it. I always ask people to send me upload the document itself, because on most of these platforms, you can view the document without having to download it, right? You can safely view it on the platform without having to download it. Or they can simply copy the text and then paste it into the chat, right? Wherever you are. Never click links if you've never met these people before, because you don't know if that's got malware attached to it or some viruses or something, giving them the ability to take or control something on your end. Never click links, period. Requests for identification is number 4. Number 5, anything from India or Nigeria. I wouldn't say that, but maybe be more cautious. 6 says incredible offers for little to no work. Yes, they try to distract you with big dollar numbers and little amounts of work. They're distracting you with that, while their other verbiage down below says, and then we're going to take your voice and use it for AI learning, or they might not even tell you that, right? So if it sounds too good to be true, read through the entire thing, make sure you understand, ask clarifying questions, right? But don't immediately jump on it. Joya says, it's not AI written books that are being taken down, but those with more than 75% of their content in the public domain are being removed. I think some of the mostly AI written ones are too. I think I just wouldn't do them just because I think as we progress with more and more regulations being put on AI, finally it's sort of still like the wild, wild west with AI. But as more and more laws and things are going to be attached to it, I wouldn't, because I don't know if they're going to be left up. Colette says, I was approached by someone who thought I'd be perfect for a great part. No pay, no reimbursement for travel or meals. Why would you need travel or meals? When I asked what was in this great deal, they said, you'll be in it. Yeah, because exposure and hype around me, my name, pays my bills. I can't go in the grocery store and buy my groceries with, hey, I'm using your product. Does that work? No. Yeah, I don't do those either for exposure. Dylan says, my book was an anthology of 100 scary stories, a couple of 100 words each, were all very similar. It was all from ChatGPT, I believe. It could be. Some of it, at least, probably. MG Steven says, trust your gut. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Unfortunately, more than likely, it probably is. Caesar says, didn't someone in Platinum say they were solicited for VO work under the condition that they could watch their feet while they worked or something? I think so, yes. Yeah, I don't want to say this person's name in case they don't want me to, but I believe so, yes. And is that a scam or just good old depravity? I think that's just depravity. Because I've had similar requests. I think that's just creepiness. Colette says tipping their hand, accidentally showing you they are trying to scam. Yeah. I think they do. They'll say something that isn't like aligned with what you're talking about. You can usually tell, like Caesar said, dubious verbiage, right? They'll say something that has nothing to do with voiceover or like clearly showing that they know nothing about the industry, although they're trying to come off like they are like a casting director or something. But clearly what they're saying doesn't make any sense for what they're asking you to do, right? Mary HP says, good morning, Angela. Left donuts in the break room for being late. That's right. Thank you for bringing the donuts. I have my coffee. Thank you. JCC AOL says, hey, guys. So there's a big gaming convention coming up, and I want to tell them where to go to listen to samples. Should I simply give them an Instagram or TikTok or set up the website? So you want to make people aware at the gaming convention that you are a voice actor, and then you're making yourself available to do voiceover character work. Am I right? If that is what you're talking about, then I would even have a business card with a QR code on it that takes them to your SoundCloud of your samples or takes them to your website, which has got your demos or your SoundCloud link on it. Or if you have demos on your Instagram, then you can send them there, depending on where you want to send them. But that's how I'd approach that. If you have the time to get these made, if not, then you might have to make your own. If you have a printer at home, you could go onto Canva and make yourself a business card with QR codes on it that takes them to wherever you want them to go, and then print them out and take them with you. That's what I would do. Robert Reed said, saying hi to everyone, especially Caesar and Eric. Not me, but hi. Hi, Robert. Caesar says, oh, hi, Robert Reed. Hope all's well. Leslie says, has anyone had the emails for writing for YouTube? Doing responses for YouTube and reviews for the different channels? I've been inundated lately. Writing for YouTube and doing responses for YouTube and reviews for the different... I have not seen that. I know that YouTube is hiring for moderators, but apart from that, I haven't seen any of those. JCZOL says, I will have a t-shirt saying I'm a voiceover artist and I am looking for video games or animation. will work for, how could you word that? And then you could have your QR code on the back of your shirt. Or like, like on the lip, like on the breast, right? Right here. JCC AOL says, finally, I bought donuts. Enjoy. I had donuts this weekend. So happy. Dylan says, I created some business cards with a QR code that links to my website specifically to hand out at cons. There you go. I think that's great. I think that's a great way to go. You could even be a little more cheeky and just say, hey, need a voice actor? And then a big QR code on the front or back. Robert Reed says, a lot of great information. Good. I'm glad, Robert. The Wild Guy says, hi, Angela. New to VO. Welcome to the family. Have Blue Yeti, yeah, a Blue Yeti X. I almost said a Blue Yeti X. Can VO work be done without a studio? I would highly advise against doing voiceover in like your living room. The best thing you can do for your sound and your quality and for your business is to have a dedicated recording space that is treated for sound. It doesn't have to be a fancy whisper room booth. You don't have to go and drop a few $1,000s on a studio bricks. You can use what you have, but it should be a dedicated space that is not going to move from place to place, ideally, and be treated, right? Soft surfaces around you to kill the echo, right? Treated for sound. That is one of the best things and one of the most important things you can do for your VO business. So a studio recording space, yes, definitely something that is needed. Andrea says, what is the scammer's purpose? Either to steal your identity, take your money, or both? Yes, steal your identity. Do they ask for money or access to it through Cash App? Yes. Yes. Joya says, a year ago, I had a scammer from this group contact me saying they were your friend and I needed to join their group lecture. I ignored it because it sounded off. Yes, the guy was in this live meetings. Interesting. So you're going to have to tell me who that is, Joya. Because I remember a while ago, that there was someone that might fit that description. And I handled it, but let me know. Caesar says the wild guys, or to the wild guys, I think at the very least you'll need a booth, walk-in closet, or any kind of quiet recording space that's treated to prevent reverberation. Echo. Leslie says, I used a dot card that uses a QR code that creates a contact and to my website and made keychains with QR codes and my logo to hand out at the last VO conference. My sister has an Etsy shop and she made me, I don't have it in here, but it's basically a little acrylic keychain and it has my logo and a QR code that goes directly to my website. Having that with you at the very least at all times is going to be helpful to, like, if you don't have business cards with you, if you go to a con, you just have your keychain. You go, here, you can check out my website, right? Same thing, or with the dot card. But there are ways to go about it. And some are pretty clever. Dylan Holt says, has anybody else been approached by a company looking for their next VO rock star for their YouTube channel on Fiverr? I have seen that a lot. They try to build you up with flattery and then they say, okay, well, I have 20 scripts of about 20,000 words each and I'll pay you $5 for each. They're going to build you up with flattery. Again, distraction from what the actual deal is. So don't be distracted by, I'm always dubious when I see that. I always go, okay, you don't know anything about me, but okay. But I'm going to read through what you're saying. And if it makes sense for me, I might reach out and ask questions. If it doesn't, if it's completely far-fetched, then I'm going to say, no, thank you. And then decline or block or both. Right? Robert says, I have not looked for work yet. I'm sure they will find me and hope that I will understand what they are. And I hope that I will understand what they are. I think if you just stay involved and are paying attention to what everybody else is saying, all the free information that is available online, you'll learn a lot by just doing that, right? But you do need to be proactive about work. You can't just create a couple profiles and sit back and wait. You do have to be proactive. And that not just for you, Robert, but for anybody watching. It's a business, there's a lot of other businesses that you can kind of like what's for instance, like selling digital assets on Etsy, things like that, where you do the work once and then you can make money over and over again. This is not that. You are a working actor. You need to go and be proactive about finding work. It would just that is the best way for growth, right? Caesar says two-factor authentication. Okay. That makes sense. Like it'll ask you to provide a login from a I've never heard it called 2FA, so I wasn't sure what that was. Thank you. My cup of tea. Thank you. I've never heard it referred to 2FA. Colette says scammers on their site. Oh, no, you just have to make them aware because they don't, I mean, you could be a scammer and they don't know until somebody tells them, hey, Colette is up to no good, right? Old Slacker says, have you done purely royalty paying gigs? And if so, have any paid well? Royalty seems like such a gamble. I think we talked about this quite a bit, I think last week or the week before. I would not overlook royalty share gigs at all. Royalty share books, audiobooks, I would not. But it has to make sense for you, right? The length they have to, it could be something, hang on, let me backtrack a little bit. It is one thing to see a royalty share book that is maybe mostly completely written by AI that may not pay well. That might not be something that you want to do. And I think that's mostly what you're referring to. But there are also like evergreen topics, authors with a huge fan base that sell really well that prefer royalty share over per finished hour. And some of those could really pay well. So I would not just automatically assume that all royalty share is not worth it. I have done lots of royalty share books over the course of my career, a lot of them on the spicier side, and those do pay well. But each one is going to be like, it's a case by case basis. But if you do royalty share, I would make sure that the author has a fan base, has a following, and has maybe some other books under their belt that have also done well. They're rated well, written well, not just, AI written stuff. So you can be selective about what you choose to look at for royalty share. Robert says, Caesar just frustrated with myself and just not feeling well and find it hard to get involved. You got to get in there. Got to get in there, Robert. You do. Joya says, in accordance to Caesar's list of scam signs, it then turns all cold calls, emails into scams. That's true. VOs send emails with links, demos attached. How are cold emails different from scams to the recipient? It's very true, too. Caesar says to Robert Reed, it happens to the best of us. I kind of occasionally feel that way myself. If you ever need help with anything, reach out to us on Discord if you just want to chat or have something sorted. Yeah, for those of you in my Platinum group, don't overlook the value of Discord, of our Discord group, because there's almost always somebody available there to answer questions, to help you get past something, or just to be an ear, right? To listen to your vent. If you need to vent something out, use it. Joya says, are VOs inadvertently entering into the range of being considered a scammer? I don't think so. But to your point, I see how being sort of apprehensive about every single email you get, an unsolicited email. I mean, I think we're vendors looking for work, but I don't know. I guess it just depends on the view of the person that you're sending it to. But I'm sure if it's a casting director, they're getting a lot of, voice actors asking to be put on the roster. So I guess it depends on who you are, I would think. I don't know. I would hope not. Caesar says, QR codes on shirts frustrate me. I'm trying to scan and they're walking around and I'm like, hold still, damn it. Then I fall into a manhole because I'm not watching where I'm going. Yeah, I could see where that could be. That could be troublesome. Brian says the shirt could say, I do VO jobs. QR code. Never mind. That might give the wrong impression. Miriam says the project I have with YouTube is that I comment on about 15-ish YouTube links that is sent to me showing peeps pulled over due to DUI or DWI. I do this every day. Interesting. Donnie says, wild guy, I will be posting a video of a budget build if the last of my parts ever arrive. LOL, the joys of living in the sticks. Basically, it is made from PVC and moving blankets. Robert says, thank you, Caesar. Of course, Robert. And Donnie says, and I'm so excited to finally getting to the jumping off point. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I did a for fun read, and the kiddos thought it was the best. That is the best. Reading for kiddos, especially, is always fun. Miriam says, are there different levels of what narrators can see with books on ACX? Sometimes I see books on Audible or Amazon that I never saw on ACX. You will see books on Amazon that are listed for sale. It is the author's prerogative to want an audiobook version of it made. So it's not like an automatic push from Amazon to ACX. The author has to choose to even use ACX or want their book on Audible. They could want it somewhere else completely, right? So it's not like an automatic thing. Caesar says to Joya, that's actually a good point, since I've been thinking about maybe building an email list, but I reckon I shouldn't until I have proper online presence so people can verify me. That is the key. So people can find your website and verify that you are a credible professional voice actor, that you are who you say you are, for sure. Don says, Robert, find your Zen activity and do it. Mine is my Harley. When my head gets too cluttered, it clears my head. Joya says to Caesar, if you're cold calling, emailing authors, you look like a scammer to them. It's a point of view who is reading the email. And that's really ultimately, I think, is what it's going to be. It's going to be based on who the person is receiving the email and what their view of the emails are. And I don't think every author is going to have that same point of view, depending on why you're reaching out to them. And it could be that they are thinking of having their new debut novel made into an audiobook, but maybe it sounded very overwhelming and a daunting task, and they're grateful for you reaching out to them and explaining how the process works, how much it's going to cost. So I think that is also going to be something based on, who that person, their point of view, because everybody's going to be different, right? Okay, I think this is the last comment. I got to get back to I have like a big batch of meditations I got to finish. JCC AOL says, thanks, Angela, for the great advice. I will let you know how things turn out. The gaming convention is not until early April, but I need to get the ball rolling. Yeah, I think you still have plenty of time to get something made if that's what you choose to do. So it's awesome. Let us know how it goes. That's awesome. Sounds like it'd be fun. All right, guys, I am off and running. I will see you all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Again, for those of you that do not join like Facebook groups or aren't part of Facebook groups, at the very least, join them just to learn what to look for, scammers and things. So it really is helpful. But I will see everybody next week. See you then. Bye. Thank you for listening to She Lancer Mom Entrepreneur with VoiceOver Angela. That's me. For more information about me, visit my website, voiceoverangela.com, or hop on over to my YouTube channel, VoiceOver Angela. Again, thanks for listening. Have a great day.